Sweet.
What's up, everyone? I'm Grant Cohn, back with Brett Lackey. He was here last week, Wednesday morning. I'm back in my apartment, so there's no echo. It sounded like I was in a bathroom last time, so we got that squared away. Brett has a lot of good ideas for this show, and he wants to take us inside the Niners locker room in a few different ways, which I think is really cool. Yesterday, I went out with my dad, and I took people inside the Niners practice facility, so we can go inside the locker room. But first, I want to start it off with something not controversial, but something to get the conversation going. Let's rank Kyle Shanahan among NFL head coaches right now. Brett, where would you put him?
So I set up a criteria for head coaches and what makes a good one. Right now, if I had to rank him between 5 and 10, conservatively, I believe Kyle Shanahan is a top 5 head coach. Okay, I believe that moving forward. I believe if there was a coach fantasy draft and you were drafting head coaches right now, I think he goes top 5. And that's not based on it's partially based on prior resume, but it's more so it's a projection. Projecting down the road, the next 10 years. I think Sean Payton goes ahead of Kyle Shanahan. I think Andy Reid goes ahead of Kyle Shanahan. I think coaches who are better right now, like Belichick, maybe guys like Carroll, I think because of longevity and age and different things, I think Kyle Shanahan, is a top 5 head coach. That's what I think. And I think it's based on projection largely.
Yeah.
His resume can't stack up to guys like Harbaugh and Tomlin, but I would take him ahead of guys like Harbaugh and Tomlin.
Yeah, it's a really interesting question. I mean, I feel like the reason it's all a projection with Kyle Shanahan because he's only been a head coach for 4 years and he's had 3 losing seasons. I think the reason that most people would agree with you is that he's shown so much. He's shown so much promise. He's obviously brilliant at football. He's definitely a top 5 offensive coordinator. My question, though, is does that make him a top 5 head coach? And this is the way I look at it. Bill Parcells always said you are what your record says you are. And Kyle's a few games under 500, 5 or 6. So I'm not saying he's a bad coach, but that's something he has to reconcile with. And he could say he had bad luck, but I could say, man, you set up a lot of your bad luck. Like you traded for Jimmy Garoppolo. He got hurt in his second start with the Patriots. You drafted Bosa, Deebo, and Jalen Hurd. You knew that they're good players with injury histories. You went with that double-edged sword. You traded for Dee Ford. So a lot of this is, here's what I say. He's great at the details of offense. There might be no one better. Like in terms of like the details of getting a guy open and pass patterns, all that stuff, play action, run designs. He's up there with Andy Reid, Sean Payton. Every coach in America watches Kyle Shanahan stuff and steals from it. And that's quite a compliment. All right. I'm sure Jim Harbaugh does. But head coach isn't a detail guy. Head coach delegates that. It's good. I mean, Bill Walsh could do it all, but a head coach ultimately is responsible for the decisions. And the decision-making and attention to detail couldn't be more opposite. People who are great at the attention to detail stuff, like, Einstein, aren't necessarily the kind of guys you would want running a preschool. You know what I mean? Leadership and organization, creativity and brilliance, two totally different things. Sometimes they intersect. With Kyle, my question is, what is your decision-making capability? Because a lot of times I got a question like your choices in the Super Bowls that you lost, your personnel choices, but still he's like about 41. He has a lot of promise, as you pointed out.
Grant, real quick, let me establish a criteria for what makes a good head coach. I simplified it. Let's go 5 things that the 5 job descriptions for a head coach. Number 1, tactician. Okay. This is game planning. This is play design. This is creativity. This is not on the field. This is in the classroom. This is on the whiteboard. Okay. Mm-hmm. Kyle Shanahan is phenomenal at coming up with a game plan, at identifying opponent weaknesses, and he's very creative offensively. Okay, a tactician. Number 2, you're a teacher. You have to then take it from the whiteboard and apply it. And you have to put that knowledge into 53 grown men's heads, and they have to then apply that to the field. Okay, you're a teacher. You can be really smart up here, but expressing that and teaching that is a totally different skill set. You're a teacher. Number 3, motivator, locker, presence. You have to be able to command a room. That's something. I think the first 2 things Kyle's pretty good at. The third thing, he's young. That takes some time. Bill Parcells was the best at that. Number 4, and you brought this up. This is where there's a question mark. Game instincts, in-game coaching in real time, game feel, in-game decision. This is where the 2 biggest moments in Kyle Shanahan's career, he has come up short in these areas. There's a question mark here. Guys like, I think of a guy like Gruden. I think of the reason why Sean McVay, who's brilliant, the reason why he lost his Super Bowl was in-game adjustments.
Mm-hmm.
He couldn't make them. The reason why the Falcons lost the Super Bowl to Belichick was in-game coaching. Belichick is the best at this.
Yes.
Halftime adjustments, in-game adjustments, in-game coaching, feel of game. That's number 4. You have to be able to do that. Number 5, personnel. There's a question mark there. Kyle's young. Personnel decisions, we'll have to wait and see. That's the 5 criteria. Is that fair?
I think the thing about it is like with quarterbacks and head coaches, it's just so much more than 5. I think it's important to list it all. Try to list it all because we need to talk about just overall decision making. That's something I always harp on with quarterbacks and head coaches too, man. Like as an offensive coordinator, you're not really responsible for decisions other than what do I call on 2nd and 7? What do I call on 3rd and 5? For a head coach, it's how hard are we practicing today?
Yeah.
How long are we practicing today? Who's my offensive line coach? It's everything, man. It's the schedule. It's the travel. It's so many big picture things. And I think with Kyle, he's so good at his offense. He doesn't want to delegate that. And what he does is he ends up delegating the head coaching jobs. You know what I'm saying? Saleh really picked up the slack there. Saleh was the guy who was always talking about how we play, the slogans, the violence, the speed. I mean, that's part of a head coach. It's not just this X's and O's. It's not just that. It's the whole philosophy and how we do it. And I don't know that I just haven't seen that from Kyle yet, but it's a great opportunity. He's still young. Maybe he's been doing it in the background and Robert Saleh's been getting too much credit. I guess we'll see now because it's hard to expect DeMeco Ryans to be that kind of a leader. It's got to be Kyle.
Yeah.
Leadership. I'm talking about leadership. That's the thing. Leadership.
Correct.
Like North Turner.
This is
why have these offensive coordinators failed in the past? The ones that are good offensive coordinators and bad head coaches, what is it about them? Their leadership, their lack of ability to relate to people, young men.
Correct. And that's an innate skill set. That's not something I don't even know if you learn that. That locker room presence, walk into a room full of alphas and command them and hold their attention and instruct them. And when you have to coach them hard. Parcells was the best ever. Belichick is going to go down as the GOAT. Belichick has won in one place for 20 years, and that entire time he won with one quarterback. Parcells went to a bunch of different teams, and Parcells was a team builder. The greatest skill set Parcells had was his ability. He was a brilliant football mind, but he was brilliant at people, at relationships.
Yes.
He knew, and here's a quote by Parcells. Parcells said, "I never believed in treating everybody the same." Okay, there's not a blueprint for how to coach a player and all players. You have to understand that human. Parcells was a motivator unlike any other. There's a whole bunch of stories of Parcells motivating people.
And one more thing about Parcells before we change the subject, because people get restless that we're not talking about the Niners locker room. So, okay, we'll get to the Niners locker room, and we got that for you, baby. What I want to say about Belichick, people don't give him credit for this. He's a defensive coach. He developed Brady. He had a young quarterback. Yeah. And say what you want, Brady worked out. He sat on the bench for a year when he played. He won a Super Bowl as a first-year starter. Belichick gets credit for that. Kyle still needs to nurture and bring along a young quarterback, and now he's got his opportunity. And we're going to talk about how he's going to do that a little later. But I think we should switch gears and talk about this locker room. Okay. You want to handle this topic, don't you?
Okay, so this is a personal itch I need to scratch because it's fascinating to me, and I really believe a lot of people are interested in this. You get on camera all the time and you talk about the 49ers.
Yes.
And you're very opinionated. You don't pull punches. You shoot straight. You give your opinions, your feelings on this team. you address the owner on down, owner,
Yes.
coaches, players. Okay. But you're not just somebody on a screen. You also go into this locker room, or at least you have pre-COVID. What's it like coming up in this media game? Do you self-identify as are you a beat guy? Are you a journalist? I mean, there's a bunch of names you could call these people, but you're in the media and you have relationships with players. I've heard you talk about interviewing players, Bowman, different guys from the past. What's it like to you have to create relationships with players and cultivate those, but you're not friends with these people. It's a very business relationship. If you go into a locker room and Eric Armstead is 5 lockers down and you've been giving your criticisms of him, what's that like, man? Just talk to me about that whole experience, bro. That's very interesting.
Yeah, you'd think it'd be very hostile, right? Like I'm on Twitter and I'm saying my unfiltered takes, and then I got to walk in there, and then what? Like, is Mike McGlinchey going to punch me in the face, or is he going to scream at me or curse me out? I got to say that's never happened to me, ever. Okay. The closest things that's ever happened to me is Dante Pettis and Jaquaski Tart, both actually very respectfully were like, "Hey, Grant, what the hell? Why are you picking on me?" Basically was what they were saying. Like, "Hey, man, like, you made your point. Like, what is it about me?" And I was like, fair enough. Eric Armstead, I'll see him give me a look, but he'll only tweet at me. Now, to be fair, I haven't been in the locker room since 2019. My profile's grown a little bit since 2019. It might be a little different when I walk in this year for the first time in 15, or it's going to be different. But at the same time, it's business. They understand that I'm actually good for the team. I increase the viewership, that I bring more attention to the 40. I'm basically good for the organization.
Right.
If I pick on someone, I'm sorry. I'm trying not to. I've made a resolution this year to be nicer to Mike McGlinchey, and I'm trying. I wrote an article yesterday that he's going to have a bounce back year, and I believe it. So it's really much more business-like than you think. They know that I'm doing what I have to do to put money on the table. They're doing the same thing. Is Eric Armstead going to give me a one-on-one? Probably not. Do I need a one-on-one from Eric Armstead? No, absolutely not. That wouldn't really do anything for me. It'd be great, but no, I don't need that. So I'm not worried that someone's going to punch me. If I go in there and someone screams at me, that's a scene, and I'm going to write about it, and they know it. So they don't really want to do it. They just basically leave Grant alone. I don't need to be involved. If he likes me, great. I mean, some people like me. George Kittle says hello to me every time. Robbie Gould says hello to me every time. Some people have I was really critical of the Niners for playing ping pong. Robbie Gould thought that was hilarious. So he would always seem to be, "Hey, man, you want to play ping pong? I'm challenging. I'm calling you out." I'm like, "Yeah, of course." So it can be a lot of fun. What I've realized, though, is the tables have turned. When I started, I was 23. There were guys like Justin Smith, Ahmad Brooks, who were 34, 30 guys who I was terrified of and probably didn't even register on their radar. Now I'm 33 and I have a following, and I can almost be a bully sometimes. And I sit back like, man, I need to take it easy on this 24-year-old kid. You know what I mean? It's weird. The tables have turned.
That's funny that you said that, because when you started, you were young. I didn't know how old you were, but when you're a kid, when you're my age, I'm a kid. When you're a fresh-faced kid, new to the game, you walk into a locker room. These are football players. Oh my God, and these are veterans. It's a different, early on, that confidence building process that you have now established. When you walk into a locker room now, 2021, Grant Cohn, SI, blah blah blah. It's a different animal than when you walk in as a kid. I'm local son. I'm new to the game. Can I have an interview? Now it's like, hey, I'm here. I'm doing my thing. It's a different swagger, right?
I mean, look, think about it. 23-year-old kid writes for the Santa Rosa Press Democrat. One, that's a mouthful. Two, so anyone who didn't grow up in the Bay Area doesn't know where Santa Rosa is. Okay. I look really young. I'm 23. I look 17. I walk up to their locker. I'm nervous. They can feel it. Yeah. And they're like, man, I don't want to give you an interview, man. Like, I don't want to help you learn on the job. You don't know what you're doing. You're really young. I've never heard of the place you're coming from. You're definitely not going to help my profile like this. I'm just going to be helping you. No one's going to read this. And now it's like, man, Grant, he better not say anything bad about me, because a lot of people are going to hear that. Or I really appreciate they say nice things. Someone asked me, Dwelly probably loves you. This is interesting. Everyone knows that I only praise Ross Dwelly, and I go over the top. For that reason, I leave him alone in the locker room. There's probably a lot of players on the team who don't like me. And I don't want Ross Dwelley to get, crap from captains like, hey, man, you're getting preferential treatment in the media. I don't want that to happen to him. So I leave him alone. I've actually talked to Ross Dwelley maybe once. I've spent more time talking to his mom, his dad, his girlfriend's mom. I mean, I know the whole clan, but Ross, I leave him alone, man. And he leaves me alone. It was the same way with Nick Mullins. Nick Mullins would walk by and say, hey, Grant. And I'd say, hey, Nick. But I leave him alone, man. There's a lot of players in that locker room that don't like me. And I don't want them to not like Nick or Ross because of me.
Right.
Yeah.
What's your relationship with Kyle?
I don't have one. I don't think he has really a relationship with any writers. He's not shrewd like that. Is
he unaware?
I don't know what his social skills are like. I know that he's a brilliant football guy. I mean, he's Mike Shanahan's son, but I just don't know. I mean, he grew up rich. His dad probably wasn't around a lot. What kind of savoir-faire does he really have? Saleh has it. I mean, Saleh was a working class guy. Saleh, I mean, he makes allegiances in the league, in media. He's very smart. Kyle is like, man, I don't need to do that. I'm good enough. I don't have to do that. I don't have to play that game. Everyone has to play that game eventually, especially if you're looking at, 3 losing seasons in 4 years. So eventually Kyle might warm up to the media. But his attitude is, I'm not hostile, but I'm not like trying to learn your name or use your name or give you my number, text, stuff like that. Like, you can't come to my locker. No, I can't. I asked him for a one-on-one a week after John Lynch gave me one. This was in 2019.
Okay.
John Lynch said, yes, no questions asked. Happened that week. That's the kind of guy John Lynch is. He's a stand-up guy. I'm not saying Kyle isn't. I asked Kyle 2 days after I got it with Lynch, and he said, yeah, but not this week. In the future. Still hasn't happened. So we'll see.
How do you walk up to John Lynch and say, hey, can I, you see them in the locker room?
It was back when it was during training camp. Now you have to stay in one part of the field and they don't walk by you. It used to be you could walk all around and you position yourself so they have to walk by you after practice. Lynch is walking up. Hey, John, Grant Cohn, good to see you. Can I interview you for 10 minutes this week when you get a chance? John Lynch is the kind of guy. Absolutely, man. Of course. Kyle's the kind of guy who say, yeah, but not this week.
Right.
Yeah, but not this week. All right. Well, with Kyle, it's just like back in the days when you would do interviews, not on Zoom, he'd leave, you'd walk out with him. Hey, Kyle, real quick. Do you have some time this week? I'd love to interview you one-on-one. And maybe 2 years ago, we thought it would be a favor to me. Maybe if I asked him now, it'd be different because I have 30,000 followers on YouTube. I don't know. I really think Kyle doesn't care. It really seems like the only interviews he does are with friends of the family. The Simses, Eisens, guys like that. Yeah. And I'm not really a friend of the family yet.
Right.
But maybe if I keep
profile
criticizing him. No, I mean, maybe I think it would now. But it did 2 years ago, it didn't. Lynch is just a good guy. He's like, hey, whatever, man. Absolutely. I know your dad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like John Lynch, though, he self-identifies as like the spokesperson for the team.
Yes.
Kyle's like, I'm here to coach. I'm here to draw plays.
Right.
I'm not trying to I'm not the face of the team.
I'm in charge of touchdowns.
That's
CEO of touchdowns.
That's
good, man. But I'm just saying it wouldn't look what Robert Saleh's doing in New York. He's already got the New York media in his corner. That's hard to do. Now, if he loses, he'll lose him. But that's very hard to do. Kyle has it much easier out here. Much easier out here. I'm really the only one who even dares to criticize him. And he's had 3 losing seasons. Yeah. Imagine if he were in New York. They wouldn't have any patience for him. They'd never have patience for his dad in Washington.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Kyle's speed fits California. I feel like Kyle at his innermost essence, he's a football nerd. I think he's a nerd. And I think his
in a good way. In a good way.
In a good way, of course.
I mean, like he's been exposed to X's and O's and touchdown, like drawn up touchdowns since he could breathe. Like it's like I was born. I grew up around sports journalism. He grew up around drawing up touchdowns. That's what he does. Yeah, that's what he does. He was born to draw up touchdowns.
Yep,
I respect that.
Would you agree that the identity he puts out for the world and even kind of on the sideline and to the media, he puts out, I'm cool.
Yes,
he's cool. He's a cool guy. It's the hat, the shoes.
It's a little bit of like the Mark Zuckerberg vibe. It's like, man, I'm a nerd, but I'm also 40 sitting on 200 mil. So
Right.
I could be a nerd, but I'm going to wear these Yeezys and say I'm CEO. I'm, like, that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? He's got a little bit of Mark Zuckerberg vibe.
Okay. Little cool.
Have you ever seen the movie Grandma's Boy? You probably haven't seen this.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. This is what I've always think. Kyle, don't hate me, man. But if you've seen Grandma's Boy, watch this. I think it was like a straight to TV movie in 2006. It was made by the Adam Sandler clan, but he's not in it. Okay. It's about, it's the main character is the homeless caddy from Happy Gilmore, the guy with he's in all that Happy Gilmore. He's in all the Adam Sandler movies. Anyway, he works as a video game maker. He makes video games. Okay. All right. And he's just, he's good. He's 40. He's kind of a slacker. There's like a young wonderkind dude in his 20s who makes video games at the same place, who kind of talks like a robot. And he's like, he kind of, that's all what I've always thought of Kyle Shanahan. It's like, oh, you're the dude in Grandma's Boy, like the genius who has a little bit of trouble interacting with people, but is really good at making video games. Really good at making. I feel like two people watching this show know what I'm talking about. Anyway, I think
he's self-aware enough to know how to act cool, and he knows enough about hip hop and pop culture.
Exactly.
He knows how a cool guy looks and sounds. But
exactly.
When he's doing it, it's like, you're still a nerd, bro.
You still grew up in Mike Shanahan's mansion, going to all the richest schools in whatever state you were in that year. I mean, it's nothing. It wasn't your fault, but it's just hard to be normal when you grew up that way.
It's true.
It's hard.
Yeah.
So anyway, Kyle, if you need some pointers, tips, how to be normal, I got you, man. Just give me some one-on-one time, man.
I do think Kyle can help himself by going on with Grant Cohn. I think that would help his 49ers fan cred. I really do.
Dude, did you see that? I mean, you were like 2 years ago, I interviewed John Lynch. I gave him the 5 easiest softball questions in the history of the world. If Kyle Shanahan went on my podcast, I would just be like, hey, Kyle, remember that time you were in the Super Bowl? That was great. Hey, Kyle. Yeah. Like, I would be such a fanboy all of a sudden. So, Kyle, man, you don't got nothing to worry about. But let's switch it up a little bit, stay in the locker room. All right. So that's my experience in a locker room, but let's look forward. The Niners have a potentially explosive situation. They have 2 quarterbacks.
Yeah.
They're both vying for one job. One guy's been here for 4 years. The other guy is the future of the franchise. How you haven't been in a locker room, you haven't seen it, but you've been around. You weren't born yesterday. How do you think this could play out potentially? What are the possible side effects, or whatever you want to say? Implications.
Yeah, I think these guys have known Trey Lance for a week, and I think they've known Jimmy for 3 years, and
that's a big deal.
And automatically, they have a relationship with Jimmy, even if they go to practice and they're focused on their job and their career and winning every rep for them to feed their family. It's just human nature. Jimmy's a guy you know, Trey's a guy you don't. Jimmy's a guy who is really playing for his career, yes. And Trey's a guy who has everything out in front of him. I don't think it affects things in a drastic way. I think there's going to be it's going to be subtle. There's going to be subtleties. The way the locker room, it's going to be a tiny bit of tension, maybe in the quarterback room, tiny bit of tension. A question I had, and this is a little bit different. There, consensus, conventional wisdom in the NFL is a rookie quarterback benefits by sitting for a year or for half a game, or half a year. A rookie quarterback can benefit. I don't know that that's true. I think it's true maybe on a few instances. I think if you have to tweak a guy's mechanics drastically, and you're really changing the way the guy, his footwork or his upper body mechanics, you don't want to put him in a game where he's thinking and you want him to be playing free. I think if you have to really do a makeover on a guy's mechanics, or if the pass protection is horrible, I think if your guy's going to get lit up and he's going to get pressured constantly, I think you don't want to play rookie. Other than that, are you helping a guy by sitting him?
It's a good question, right? Because there's examples on both sides. There's Brady, Rodgers, Mahomes, Montana, all sat, all had all-time great careers. But then there's other guys who played right away and struggled and went through the growing pains, and that helped them, like Peyton Manning, Josh Allen. A million guys. So there's no right answer. I think it's a situational thing. Like for the Bills 3 years ago, of course you play Josh Allen. You suck. You have a first-year head coach. Let him learn on the job because you're not going anywhere. I mean, it's good for him to learn on the job, accelerate the learning curve. And if he sucks at first, no one's mad. The expectation is that. I mean, his quarterback rating was 60-something. No one was mad about that. It's not like they had a better option, but on the Niners, it's more complicated because even though people are tired of Jimmy Garoppolo, everyone is, it seems like, even the coach, he still has a 98 quarterback rating when he plays. He's still 22-8. So if you get rid of him and you have a quarterback competition this offseason, right? And Kyle says, hey, Trey won. Jimmy, you're the backup. And it was practice. Like, yeah, everyone saw it, but it's still practice. That's not football. Right. There's no tackling. It's not real. There's no pass rush. It's not really the same thing. So Trey wins and he goes out there and he has some learning, like some growing pains, like Josh Allen did as a rookie. And his quarterback rating is 66. It's not good. And he flashes, but it's not that good, and he's losing. First of all, forget what the fans are going to say, but the team. This is, as you pointed out, a lot of players who have been with Jimmy for a long time. They're like, you know what? Say what you want about Jimmy. I know Jimmy. I've battled with Jimmy, and we win with Jimmy. Now we got this kid in here, and we're losing, and he's learning on the job. I don't think that there's going to be the same amount of patience that there was in Buffalo. That's why I say it's a case-by-case basis.
Correct. I think this team is not like, on the list of priorities for the 2021 season, developing Trey Lance is not number one, right? For Buffalo, developing Josh Allen was kind of number one.
Right.
In a lot of ways.
The Niners have to win. They can't have a fourth losing season. They can't.
Correct. They're trying to win games. Yes. Who do you think? So
here's the thing. Here's the thing. That's why I feel like this quarterback competition kind of isn't one. There's so many people in Jimmy Garoppolo's corner. There's going to be skeptics of Trey Lance. Now, the other rookies will be in Trey Lance's corner. They know him better. But that's the way. You don't realize there's going to be a Trey Lance faction and a Jimmy Garoppolo faction. Okay. You split the locker room. Correct. It happened with the Niners and Colin Kaepernick and Alex Smith. When Kaepernick got the job, Crabtree was happy. Staley was not. You know, like there's going to be people like, hey, man, wait a second. Jimmy's been here. You're just going to take his job away for some kid who's proven what exactly? What? Wait. I mean, so there's going to be all of that. So that's why I feel like there's going to be a lot of skepticism if Jimmy gets benched and Trey starts week one, especially if Trey struggles right away. So if you let Jimmy win the competition, say Jimmy won, it was close, Ty goes to the vet, and then Jimmy goes out and gets hurt. Well, now you don't have to worry about him anymore. Then it's like, okay, well, you're gone.
That's the most comfortable, natural progression, I think.
Or he loses week one. You lose, you stink, you get hurt. Now the whole locker room is like, all right, man, he's lost it. We can't win with Jimmy anymore. There's no more like woulda, coulda, shoulda, what if. Now you have 100% backing of your young quarterback. That's the only way you get it. Otherwise, you got a split team. Because even when Kaepernick took the job and took the team to the Super Bowl, there was still a section of the locker room that was like, this is not right, man. A player shouldn't lose his job because of injury. Alex was playing well. So Kyle's going to be very, very smart, strategic, and I think that's why he is being smart and strategic. His dad has been around. He's got people that know how to do this, and that's why he's saying it's not a competition yet. It could become one, but it's not one yet. Kid's got to earn it.
Yeah. Do you think this quarterback competition is won in practice? Do you think it's won in preseason? Do you think does Trey Lance get first team reps?
That's a great question, man.
How real is this competition going to feel? I mean, if Trey Lance is in a preseason game, even if he has some rookie mistakes, even if there's some things that are a little bit clunky, but if he flashes and he throws a ball downfield that Jimmy's not throwing, Jimmy's going to run his Jimmy offense. And I think you might see a different Jimmy. You might see a Jimmy that comes out and there is heat on his back, right? And there's a different when you draft Trey Lance, you're putting a jetpack in, right? You're putting an engine right here, and you're really heating that dude up. You might see the ball in a way that he does
chunky. He looked a little chunky.
Does he know?
I thought look here. I know the initial reaction was, hey man, dude looks chunky, and then the next reaction was, oh, it's a bad angle. So I gave it to my wife, who I felt is the ultimate judge, and she was like, no, he looks chunky. So I'm just saying, my wife is not impressed. But I don't think she's impressed with my body either. I've been working hard to try to. I'm just saying, Jimmy, I'm coming for you, man. Yeah. used to have us all in the handsome game. Now I think the door's open. I think the door's open, Jimmy.
Been working on
my jawline, Jimmy. Watch out. So look, yeah, I mean, I just feel like how is this going to be? You asked how many first team reps is this kid going to get? Is he going to get any in OTAs? I doubt it. I think Jimmy has to open the door for him. I think Jimmy's in a good spot. If he can go in and play well, I don't think Trey Lance is going to get many because Kyle can say, look, we're in win now mode. Jimmy's playing well. We'll get to Trey. We'll get to Trey. Right. Trey's getting up to speed. But if Jimmy goes out and does what he does, like has a day where he stinks, where he throws 3, 4, 5 picks into practice, well, then that opens the door for Kyle to be like, all right, well, we need to give Trey. We have to give Trey more first team reps. Jimmy's going to open the door. It's going to be up to Jimmy, I think. I expect Trey's going to play well, but playing well in practice, is that enough? It might not be enough. I think Jimmy has to play poorly when it counts, and that could happen. It happened week 1 last year. Look at his week 1 performances. They're all bad. Week 1 in Minnesota. Week 1, in Tampa. So
you think it's Jimmy's job to lose? You think Jimmy?
I think it's Jimmy's job to lose because of the locker room, man. Because of people like Kyle Juszczyk and George Kittle and all these guys who go on the radio all the time. And that's my guy. I love Jimmy. And we with him. And How many times have you been saying for years? And I feel like that's human nature. I know if I'm been in that team and I know Jimmy and they bring in this 21-year-old kid, I'm like, I don't know you, man. I mean, I'm open-minded. Right. I want you to be good, but I'm not. I have a relationship with Jimmy, man. I'm probably going to be partial to him until you prove it over and over again. That's the way I look at it. I just feel like if Kyle makes us, if it's close in camp and Kyle says, you know what, Trey won, and he struggles during the regular season, you really messed up that locker room. You might have lost it.
Yeah.
You might have lost it.
If you try to reverse engineer, you start Trey Lance, and just like the Dolphins last year, that was headline news every week. They would yank Tua, and they'd put that.
It's terrible.
It's not good. It fragments everything.
Let's say they both play well in camp. Both of them. Jimmy gets good reports, but so does Trey Lance. And Kyle goes with Trey. And he just happens to struggle in his first few games because he's a rookie.
Right.
That's a problem. That's a problem because maybe Jimmy wouldn't have struggled because he's a vet. All that stuff, man. So I think got to be really careful here. If you give the job to Trey too soon and he's not, and he just happens to have a bad game, what are you doing in the locker room? Are you jeopardizing your credibility in the locker room? These are things that coaches think about. But I guess I feel like Jimmy's going to open the door. I've watched a lot of Jimmy in practice. I saw Chunky Jimmy stroll up to OTAs. I don't think he's going to be angry Jimmy. I think Jimmy is rich Jimmy.
Yeah.
Injured Jimmy.
He's accepted.
I think he's on the way out, man. That's been my suspicion, is that he's kind of lost the passion for football, man. Let's see him fight for it.
It almost feels like he's accepted it, and now I think he might play loose. He's got nothing to lose. The money's in the bank. Let me just go out here and play and let the chips fall where they lie.
If I throw a bunch of picks, oh well, man. If I get hurt, oh well, man, I tried. If I play well, great. Oh well. That's the way I look at him.
Yeah.
All right, enough of the quarterback competition. Let's talk about wide receivers, because I like talking about wide receivers too. That's a sexy position. And the Niners have questions there. I mean, let's ask it like this. Who is the 49ers' number 1 wide receiver, in your opinion?
And this is the obvious answer. It's Brandon Ayuk. It's supposed to be Brandon Ayuk.
I agree.
It's Brandon Ayuk because Brandon Ayuk is he's the best route runner on this team.
Agreed.
I think he is the best vertical threat on this team.
Agree.
I think he is going to run the most complete route tree. I think that he's your downfield threat, and he might be your only one.
He's got the wingspan. I think that's key.
Long arms over the middle.
The wingspan is key because that really differentiates him from Deebo.
My questions are about Deebo, honestly.
Okay.
My questions are about Ayuk or stay healthy, bro. Please stay freaking healthy.
Well, I got a Deebo topic in a minute, so we can wait for Deebo. But let's just talk about Brandon Ayuk, because
talk about Ayuk.
This is a guy who had very good moments as a rookie. He played 12 games. I think it's hard to know what to expect from him. Okay. Is he gonna fall off and have a sophomore slump like Deebo or Dante Pettis? Or is he going to build on it and be a Pro Bowler? Personally, I think he's the kind of guy who's going to build on it and be a Pro Bowler. I've seen his work ethic.
He's built different.
He came into training camp last year looking like a 5-year vet. He was muscled up, in great shape. The kind of guy, now he did pull his hamstring, but he was great right away. Deebo wasn't. He was a first-team starter, and he was the best wide receiver on the team right away. Deebo was hurt. This was Ayuk. And so
I remember saying that.
Yeah, and I've seen his off seasons. It seems like he really, really works hard. He's always training. That Trey Lance went and seeked him out right away. So I think he's going to be in great shape. I think he's going to have a monster year. And I think the loss of Kendrick Bourne's only going to put more on his plate.
I think so. I think this guy, he's the most obvious. I mean, the collection of physical gifts and his drive, his mentality. When you talk to his coach, they talk to his coaching staff at Arizona. This guy, he's not even a diva. He's a grinder. He's built like an Anquan Bolden. He's kind of built like a Deebo, like mentally. I mean, he's
not a diva at all. He's a hard worker. He went to junior college. He went to Sierra Junior College up in Rockland. When you're driving on the way to Tahoe, you pass right by that. That's where he went. I mean, this guy's he's not like a big star like CeeDee Lamb was or Henry Ruggs was. I mean, no one watched Arizona State.
Yeah.
But he's arguably better than – I look at this guy as I think he can do everything, man. He's a deep threat and a possession receiver. He's an outside receiver and a slot receiver. He's a kick returner. He's a punt returner. He's good after the catch. He's a great route runner. He has excellent hand-eye coordination and long arms. I mean, he's got finesse and he's got strength. I think he's got it all. He's kind of built like an OBJ, kind of built like an Odell Beckham. Yep. But he's tough for over the middle. He, he's yards after catch. I mean, he has that number. He has the number one wide receiver skill set. Stay healthy. Continue on this progression. OBJ is all hype. I'm so sorry. OBJ is so much.
It wasn't early. The first 4 years, those numbers were real, bro.
Let me just say something.
Stupid.
Yes. Hold on. Eli gets no credit for that. Odell leaves and he hasn't been able to replicate it. Eli gets no credit. Everyone hates him because he's ugly.
Right.
He's like a worm. I'm sorry, Eli. I like him.
He was just terrible. He was just terrible that those past 4 years.
But the thing about Odell Beckham, if he hadn't made that one catch and he hadn't played in the New York market, he wouldn't have the hype he has. I mean, he's basically considered a better receiver in his prime than Antonio Brown. Hell no. Hell no. Antonio Brown had like 10 years of consistent production. Odell Beckham Jr., anyway, great player, but he also has a ton of hype because of where he was in that one catch. Ayuk doesn't have the hype. He didn't play at Oklahoma. He was at Arizona State. He hasn't made a one-handed catch like that, but dude is really good. And comparing him to Odell Beckham is not a stretch. You even said he's a little tougher than Odell. Yeah,
he's tough.
It's not a stretch. Yeah, Odell Beckham's good. I'm just saying. He is good.
Odell was really good. The numbers,
he's very good.
The course, his course, those first 4 years. I mean, he was a shooting.
He's very good.
He was a shooting.
He's also a little overhyped because of the catch and the market. Like if he played on the Raiders and hadn't made that catch, he wouldn't have been in the same. But anyway, who cares about Odell Beckham?
Raider Nation would have pumped his tires so hard.
It's true, but playing on the West Coast, you don't get as much notoriety as playing anywhere else.
That
way the hell out here
is crazy.
Yeah,
he was built for it too. The looks, the swag. I mean, he's a runway model playing wide receiver.
When Dante Pettis came to the team with purple and blue and yellow hair, was he trying to be like Odell Beckham? That's what he was trying to do, wasn't he? That's the thing. If you have purple hair, you got to be able to make that one-handed catch, man. You got to have the game to back it up. You got to have the game to back it up. All right. Similar question. Who would you consider the Niners' possession receiver? I asked this because 2 years ago it was Emmanuel Sanders and Kendrick Bourne. Last year it was Kendrick Bourne and Jordan Reed. The guy that you go to on 3rd and 5, the guy that leads the team in targets on 3rd down in the red zone, who is that guy next year?
This needs to be Jalen Hurd. This needs to be Jalen.
Sure. If he stays healthy, that would be him. Yes. That's who this
needs to be.
Yes.
You need a big guy in the slot. This guy, what is he? 6'4".
Yes.
220, 230. If you have a big slot, that's like another tight end. That's an extension of the tight end. The rookie quarterback's best friend is a tight end, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you have a big slot who can run, who's good over the middle, he's a big body target. His run blocking is phenomenal. he's gonna win underneath. He's gonna find soft spots in the zone on third downs. He's gonna beat man. He's gonna beat safeties, beat linebackers. It needs to be Jalen Hurd. We're praying it's Jalen Hurd. His run after the catch, his break tackle.
The Niners are praying it's Jalen Hurd. I really could care less. But no, I do think they're praying it's Jalen Hurd because they didn't draft a wide receiver. They haven't signed any wide receivers who have done anything in the last 4 years. I mean, the door is wide open for Jalen. It's like, look, we took you with the 3rd round pick.
Yeah.
You know, we didn't get anything the first half of your rookie deal, so we'd like to get something, man. If you could just, if you want to play, it's right there for he's right there, baby.
It's right there.
But I'm not going to count on Jalen Hurd, man. If he gives him something, great. But I think at this point, this guy, when was the last time Jalen Hurd was 100% healthy? Like 2013, maybe?
What are his injuries? ACL?
Oh, man. And a back thing. The back thing should be all right. It should be. Well, let's see. It's not that I think that the injuries are lingering. It's like, what's the next one, man?
Right.
What's the next one? Because it's always something. But if it's him, that's great. If it's not him, 2 names. Obviously, George Kittle always, just because he's great. But Kittle aside, he doesn't have necessarily the greatest hands. He gets open, though. He's a tough matchup. But two names. Brandon Ayuk. He's going to get a ton of targets on third. He's going to get a lot of action next year. People don't realize.
I like that.
Brandon Ayuk, man, I'm telling you, he's 5'11", 6 feet tall. He has super long arms. He can do these things. And he got a lot of targets on third down last year. People forget. He got a lot of targets on third down in the red zone last year. So him, and then I'm trying to speak this one into existence. Ross Dwelly. I mean, Jordan Reed had a lot of these targets last year. Ross Dwelly is 6'5". He's never dropped a pass in his career. He shouldn't get as many targets as Bourne got or Ayuk will get or Kittle will get. But that's a nice, like, 3rd or 4th option on third down. And then also Jeff Wilson Jr., your running backs.
Okay.
You know, Trey Sermon. Jerick McKinnon got a lot of targets on third down last year, and he didn't deserve really any of them. Jeff Wilson Jr. Some guys. Yeah. But Ayuk is the number one. Ayuk is the number one.
A true number one. We haven't had a true number one in a long time. We really haven't. We've had like Marquise Goodwin. We've had different guys. Emmanuel Sanders on that Super Bowl team technically was the number one. You threw him inside. You ran routes in a lot of different areas. If you have a true number one, if Brandon Ayuk can be that guy, he is the guy you look for on third down. Julio Jones is the guy you look for on third down. Antonio Brown is the guy you look for on third down. Hopefully that's what Brandon Ayuk can be. Yeah.
Real quick, we got one more topic, but before we go there, I keep mentioning Twitch. I just created a profile this week, and I'm learning about it. Subscribe to me on Twitch, Real Grant Cohn, one word. Shameless. It works every time, though. Thank you, guys. I appreciate you who have. I've been trying to investigate what Twitch is. I know people stream themselves playing video games, but now I'm not a gamer. I don't have a PlayStation. Maybe I'll convince my wife to let me get one, but I just do this, and I feel like, do people watch podcasts on Twitch? And I'm investigating, and I see that there are a segment of people that just get in hot tubs and talk to people from hot tubs. And someone's saying here, I need a hot tub stream. So that's a thing on Twitch. It's just hot tub.
I had no idea. Wow.
Jeez, man. If things get real bad, if you ever see me doing a hot tub stream, let me know that it's time, that it's over. The dream is over. I've taken a wrong turn, and I've really messed up. Please don't let me do the Cohn tub. Although I have a feeling in 3 months I'm going to be doing the Cohn tub.
We need a Lowell and Grant hot tub session.
Can someone explain that to me? Man, there's some thirsty people out there. Okay. Hold on. Mankini. Yeah, it was me. All right. Deebo. To me, he's been a gadget player for 2 years. And you could say that's because he has to be, because Jimmy can't throw the ball down the field, or because there's limitations to his game. Do you think he can become more than a gadget player? Why not?
I think the only route he runs really well is a slant. I think he runs an end around well. I think he catches a screen well. I think he runs a slant well. He has to build off of that. He's built to go in one direction really fast and really aggressively. And his stop and start, I haven't seen it be super, super good. I don't see a developed, refined route runner. I don't know. I hope so. I see him, and he
runs a hell of a slant route, though. I got to give him credit.
He runs
a hell of a slant route. Yes, he does.
Yeah, because if you put that ball on the one between the 1 and the 9, and he just keeps running in that same direction, it's.
But what's the main issue with Deebo? Why do you have to put the ball between the 1 and the 9?
He's got short arms.
He has short arms.
Right.
And you can work around that stuff. But that's, I think, a big reason why Ayuk's going to be better than him.
Ayuk should be better than him. I did see Deebo in a preseason game against the Cowboys when he was a rookie. The game Jalen Hurd went off. Deebo caught a ball downfield.
Oh,
I think it might have been Beathard. He threw the ball up and he went up and got it. I think you can get Deebo downfield. His mentality is go get the ball. It's not Dante Pettis.
All I'm saying is, though, if I'm a quarterback and I could have an option of throwing a 50-50 ball up the right sideline to Deebo or a 50-50 ball up the left sideline to Ayuk, I'm going to Ayuk.
For sure.
Yeah.
But if the safety shades Ayuk and Deebo has outside leverage and he's got a step, if you put the ball over that left shoulder, I think Deebo goes into the ball. I do think I agree. Anquan Bolden was like a small tight end. He didn't have huge arms, but he didn't have long arms. The freaking ball in the air.
That's true. And he was so strong that he could basically win with body positioning. He could get a guy on his hip behind the play where you can't even really contest the catch. I haven't seen that from Deebo, but he's young. He can develop that part of his game.
Threw back shoulder balls. Jimmy never threw back shoulder, but Trey Lance can throw back shoulder. He can throw over the top. Steve Smith was another guy. Steve Smith was small, but it was a mentality, and he was very physical. He would box out. He would rebound.
Right. And I think the main takeaway here is that we don't know that Deebo can't do that stuff. Yeah. We know that he has limitations. He has shown limitations in his game. Or no, let's put it this way. The Niners have used him in a limited way. We don't know why. We don't know why. It could be partially because of him or mostly because of Jimmy. We're going to find out with Trey Lance because theoretically Trey Lance, even though he does like to check it down and he can be a game manager, he can air that thing out when asked to. He's a cannon. And let's see if Kyle calls Deebo's number in that sense, in that way.
You know what I think? I think some of those back shoulder balls and downfield balls, I think a lot of times those are more about execution, not play design. When you throw a back shoulder ball,
there's no play design.
That's not coach brilliance. That's execution. Kyle wants to brilliantly scheme up a play.
That's true. Most coaches do. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of coaches do.
I talk to coaches a lot of times. They get offensive coaches hate the 50-50 ball. He's like, man, you're in the end, especially former coaches. They're like, what's the science behind that? You're in the NFL, so you could just call up a 50-50 ball. Like anyone could do that. I could do that.
But a good back shoulder ball, a Rodgers to Devontae, a Romo to Dez, that's better than 50-50. A good back shoulder ball is better than 50-50 probably.
Oh, yeah. That's almost like indefensible. And it's not something we've seen
ever.
Jimmy throw. No. Now, I haven't really seen Trey throw it either. But it seems like it's the kind of thing that it's a relationship thing. You can't just throw it to anyone. It's usually the mark of a quarterback and a wide receiver that have been playing and practicing together for years. Correct. Originally, it was Aaron Rodgers and Jordy Nelson. I mean, it took them years.
The first thing you have to do if you're going to throw a good back shoulder, you have to establish that you're a downfield threat. That back shoulder ball only works if you're a downfield threat. True, and they're sold out to stop that. Hunter says, don't forget the fourth down in Baltimore, debonair. That's a really funny fix for Deebo. I'm going to call him debonair from now on. Went up and got a deep ball for the first score of the game. Was checked.
That was a weird play. I mean, he went up, I feel like this, and two people kind of misplayed it. It was a nice catch. It was, I think, the only time I can really remember him making a catch like that. I'm not saying he can't. Jimmy doesn't give him opportunities. He'll get opportunities in the future. It'll be nice to see.
He didn't high point the ball. But
he didn't. But he caught it.
Yeah, he caught it.
And the thing is, he is so thick, he should be able to just thick with two C's. He should be able to just kind of throw people off and win with body position.
Yeah. In theory. Yeah.
Dude says debonair Samuel sounds fancy. My thing about Deebo is that he's the thickest wide receiver I've ever seen. He has junk in the trunk.
That one offseason.
And if he comes in with a little less junk in the trunk, I'm gonna be measuring the junk. How many cubic square inches of junk in the trunk are we talking? Then that's going to determine what kind of season he has, because the hamstring issues, I think, are direct correlation from the junk in the trunk. So Deebo, you like to use my sound bites on your workout things as motivation. I'm talking about the junk in the trunk. A little less, a little spring cleaning. What do you say?
Yeah.
What do you say? All right, man. Brett, we're coming up on an hour, but you're pro. You're a pro as always, man. I
Appreciate
like,
it.
first of all, things I like about the lighting was terrific. The sound was
Okay.
good. And you're in like the conservatory. You're like Colonel Mustard with the candlestick in the conservatory. You never played Clue, man. Kids these days, you don't know about the Clue. I'm just saying your backdrop is really nice. Imagine not playing Clue growing up, man.
I know what Clue is. I've never played
I
it.
was cold at Clue, man. I had
I'm
all
not
the
a board game
tricks.
guy, dude.
Yeah, well, it's because you weren't born in the 80s.
I'm not cool with my family like that, dude. I don't.
Oh, it's a family thing.
The whole family. I mean, I am.
That's definitely like, hey, we're a happy family. Let's play Boggle for an hour. Like, no,
Yeah.
I don't want to.
You got to be really comfortable with your family to play Clue.
That's true.
Super comfortable.
That is true. You can get the fisticuffs. I've seen it happen, man, with the candlestick. Everyone, thank you very much. The Twitch people, the Debonaires, everyone, thank you so much. Maybe hot tub in the future. I just can't rule it out. We'll see. But I don't know. Maybe a hot tub with a real nice library in the background. We'll figure it out. But Brett, great stuff.
Thank you,
Make
guys.
sure you subscribe to him on YouTube and follow him on Twitter, man. Take care, everyone.